Incoming White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain, he says President-elect Biden will officially announce more of his cabinet picks this week ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday.
Here to discuss some of those prospects are Democratic strategist Michael Starr-Hopkins and White House correspondent for Real Clear Politics, Philip Wegman. Great to see both of you guys.
Good to see you, gents.
Morning.
So, Michael, the big name that it looks like is going to be Secretary of State is Tony Blinken, a longtime advisor to Joe Biden, very well known in this town. He was his top advisor when he was chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, for example. What do you think that this pick says about the way that Joe Biden is approaching this administration?
Look, I think the Biden administration is looking to get the job done without causing a lot of waves. We spent the last 4 years constantly chasing headlines and reacting to Twitter. And so I think what Joe Biden is going to do is have a boring presidency. I got in trouble for saying that in 2016 with my former boss, John Delaney, but I think it's true. I think Joe Biden is looking to be boring and allow people to go back to Thanksgiving and have dinner and go back to Christmas without punching family members and just get back to the business of actually governing.
It's like that. Yeah. I mean, that's a real back to brunch kind of vibe that you're putting out there, right?
Absolutely.
But that's part of the issue, right, Phil? Which is that Tony Blinken, by all accounts, clear a liberal interventionist streak, quote unquote, in several profiles that I've read of him back from the Obama era, supported Biden during the war in Iraq, actually broke with Biden over bombing because he wanted to argue to bomb Libya. I mean, this is a pretty significant kind of policy move that Biden is laying out there. I don't even think he necessarily sees it that way. But what do you think it's going to do to accelerate some of these trends and debates that we've seen in American politics since Trump came along?
I think the feather in Trump's cap, at least according to people close to him, is actually his ability not to further any foreign wars. Yes, we're still in Iraq and Afghanistan, but he sees it as a major accomplishment that even though the security apparatus fought him on this, he has not accelerated those. I think with Blinken, we already see where the opposition is forming. You have Republicans who are grumbling that this is going to be a popular pick in Tehran and Beijing. We'll see if that's actually true. But I think that, aside from the big picture policy, we know that this guy was with Biden during the Obama years. We know what happened around the globe under their leadership. I think what this shows, at very, bottom level is that Biden is going to stick with the people that he is comfortable with. He is going to stick with people who have been loyal to him throughout his career, and he's not going to change things. So if you liked interventionist Biden, you're probably going to get interventionist Biden again.
Yeah.
Michael, last panel, you were saying that what Biden really needs to do is have a big presidency to stave off a future threat from Donald Trump or whoever's going to be coming down the pike here. Because, look, let's face it, we may all want to go back to brunch, but we have these insanely huge problems, both that, exist in 2020 specifically, like the pandemic, but of course, longer term structural factors that in many ways led us to Donald Trump to start with. Do you think that Tony Blinken and the sort of standard issue, Democratic Party operatives who've been around forever, who have a very particular neoliberal worldview, do you think putting them back in place is consistent with getting that big presidency that you think that Joe Biden needs?
Look, I think Joe Biden's going to put together a fantastic cabinet. When you have people like Tony Blinken, but you also have people like Michelle Foulon and the like, we're going to get back to being actually able to know that the people who are doing their jobs are able to do their jobs. Now, we may not agree with every policy decision they make. That's how government works. But knowing that we have competent people who actually are following rules and laws and norms, I think is very important. He can't get too safe and he can't get too comfortable. There are certainly things that we're going to have to tackle and issues that we're going to have to address. But I think most Americans should be really comfortable just knowing they can go back to focusing on their day-to-day activities while the government does what it's supposed to do.
See, I don't know. I mean, I agree with you that that's probably the best case for Biden. And yet, Phil, I mean, a lot of people voted against competently managed war in 2016. And I think that that's what this kind of, I mean, competently managed globalism is still globalism. Like, competently managed shipping jobs to China is actually, frankly, worse than incompetently doing it. And so when I'm seeing and I'm looking at these trends and the accelerations, I'm seeing quite clearly what that matchup in 2024 might look like. And Phil, I mean, just to get you in on this, which is that these are the trends which led to Trump's victory in 2016. And if you're doing this on an even more, like you were saying, Michael, on a competent scale, I just think that's going to ripen the environment for such a critique.
Yeah, I think that the way a populist voter would look at this is he's not going to zoom in on who's up or who's down in the Beltway. They could care less for that type of drama or lack thereof. But they're definitely going to care about some of these foreign interventions, when their friends and family are the ones who have to, go secure the battlefield, or they're going to care when their friends and family are affected on the factory line. Boring totally does calm things down, and I get that there's an appetite for that. I think that there's a lot of exhaustion, to say the least. But just getting rid of that noise is not going to be enough to calm things down. I think that it is going to be the objective of a Biden administration to get rid of that sort of beltway chatter, but then also avoid these things that you were just discussing that really do stoke resentment, because the names don't matter. It's the actions.
Yeah, I think that's well said.
Right.
Guys, thank you both for your insights.
See you guys. Coming up, founders of Vox Media, Ezra Klein and Matt Iglesias, they've announced their departures from that outlet. Journalist Ed Jelani is going to discuss the shakeup in media, the substackification, and already attempts to cancel people there. That's when Rising continues.